Most young men are taught one dangerous lie: that if you are good, if you are kind, if you are respected, power will come naturally. Machiavelli looked at history and said, "No, power doesn't work like that." 500 years ago, in The Prince, he asked a question that still makes people uncomfortable today. Is it better to be feared or loved? Not in theory, not in moral philosophy, but in the real world. And the answer he gave was cold, strategic, and brutally honest. Today, we're breaking down the psychology of fear versus respect, why most men misunderstand both, and what Machiavelli actually meant through history and modern psychology. This isn't about cruelty, it's about effectiveness. Let's start with love, or what people think love is. Love feels good. Love feels safe. Love feels validating. But Machiavelli noticed something dangerous about love. Love is conditional. People love you when you benefit them, when you agree with them, when you make life easier. The moment those conditions disappear, loyalty weakens. History repeats this pattern. Leaders who ruled through kindness alone were celebrated in good times and abandoned in moments of crisis. Psychologically, love depends on emotion, and emotions are unstable. Fear doesn't rely on emotion. Fear functions even when people disagree with you. That's why Machiavelli wrote that men love at their own free will, but fear is controlled by authority. That single idea explains centuries of power dynamics. Now, let's clear a common misunderstanding. When Machiavelli spoke of fear, he wasn't talking about violence or cruelty. He was talking about consequence. Fear is psychological. It's the understanding that lines exist, that rules are enforced, that disrespect has a cost. Modern psychology calls this boundary-backed authority. People don't fear chaos, they fear certainty. When consequences are consistent, behavior stabilizes. That's why a calm teacher controls a room better than a friendly one, why a quiet leader commands more presence than a loud one, why emotional restraint feels more powerful than emotional display. Fear, in this sense, creates order. Most people believe fear and respect are opposites. Machiavelli didn't. He understood something more uncomfortable. True respect is supported by controlled fear. When there is no fear of consequence, respect slowly turns into familiarity. Familiarity leads to entitlement. Entitlement leads to disobedience. That's why leaders who try to be liked by everyone eventually lose authority. History shows this clearly. Julius Caesar was admired by the people and respected by his soldiers, but he underestimated the fear he inspired in the Senate. That unmanaged fear turned into conspiracy. The lesson isn't that fear is dangerous. The lesson is that mismanaged fear is dangerous. Power requires awareness of who fears you and why. This matters especially for young men. You're taught to be agreeable, to avoid being threatening, to confuse authority with toxicity. But in leadership, softness without structure invites challenge. People test boundaries by nature, not because they're evil, but because uncertainty provokes curiosity. If nothing pushes back, pressure increases. Machiavelli didn't reject morality, he rejected naivety. He believed leaders must understand people as they are, not as they wish them to be. Machiavelli's most famous conclusion still stands. It is safer to be feared than loved if one must choose. Notice the condition, if one must choose. The ideal leader would be both. Reality doesn't always allow that. When forced to choose between being liked and being effective, power chooses effectiveness. Fear stabilizes systems. Love decorates them. That's not evil, that's realism. Modern psychology confirms this. Leaders with clear consequences earn long-term respect. Inconsistent kindness weakens authority. Calm dominance creates trust more effectively than friendliness. People feel safer under strong structure than emotional unpredictability. Fear doesn't destroy trust, uncertainty does, and controlled fear removes uncertainty. There is one line Machiavelli warned never to cross. Fear must never become hatred. Fear combined with hatred creates rebellion. Fear without hatred creates order. A leader should be feared for authority, not despised for cruelty. This is where many fail. They confuse dominance with aggression, strength with intimidation, silence with coldness. True power doesn't threaten, it doesn't over-explain, it simply exists. If this changed how you think about power, leadership, or human behavior, hit the like button. If you want more psychology, philosophy, and real-world power dynamics, subscribe to the channel. And remember, in a chaotic world, the calmest man often holds the most power. Stay sharp.